Hey, I'm Pat Murphy-Racey. I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about my favorite light stands. Some of these stands I've had for 25 years. I use the Avenger brand mostly, but the Avenger stuff is mostly a ripoff or copy, which is a nice way of saying it, of Matthews, which is like the age-old standard, but Avenger seems to work better for me. In the C-stands and a lot of their grip heads, they use rubber instead of cork, and the cork doesn't disintegrate, so I just prefer Avenger. I like the stuff. So this is the A625B stand. This is a great stand for if you're starting out and you're working indoors a lot. Its advantages are it's really small. It's relatively lightweight, but it's not very tall. And so if you're working under 8-foot ceilings all the time, this will work. It also won't carry a lot of weight. So if you're using really large light modifiers, I'm talking like 6, 7, 8 feet. I've got a 90-inch modifier. I could never use it as a stand. But these are really great. If you want something... The next stand I'm going to show you is the A635B. So this is the 25, this is the 35. This one only goes up to like 7 feet. This one goes up to about 11 feet. But it's also a little, not much longer, which is great for traveling. And the advantages of this stand is that it's really, the advantage of this stand is it's only 11 feet, which means it's more compact to carry. So when this is a 13-footer, this is the A675B. And you can see how much taller this is. So this is a little harder to pack in a bag if you're going to fly with it or something like that. But anyway, so these are the three stands primarily that I use: the A625B, the A635B, 11 feet. So basically 7 foot, 11 foot, and then the 13s. And as you can see, I got 4 of these just sitting here. I probably have 8 of these just in different bags and vehicles and stuff. These are really, really nice stands. But there's one thing I hate about the 35B and the 675Bs, and that is this stupid, there's a bottom connector thing. I hate this thing. And there's this bottom thing, and when I use assistants and I travel, assistants I don't know, they're always trying to figure out how the stand works. And it's just you can do crazy stuff like this, which makes no sense. And so what this video about today is I'm going to show you how to get rid of this bottom thing altogether. In fact, we're just going to take this stupid thing off right now. So let's just wind this out of here. Now, what I did earlier today, I went over to Lowe's, which is like Home Depot or Menards or whatever, big box, store. It's basically a 50,000 foot hardware store. I took this with me and I got them. I went over to the hardware aisle and I figured out there's a little thing on the wall in between shelves, and it will tell you what thread you have. Any kind of bolt you bring in there, it's really cool. So I figured out that this was actually metric. It's an M6, M6-1.00 times 20, and 20 is the length, 20 millimeter. And so this little guy here, one of these little guys, I got a whole bag of them. This was $1.23 at Lowe's, if you want a comparison shop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bad boy and I'm just going to screw it in there till it's finger tight. And then when it starts stopping, I'm going to turn on here using my little ratchet with a 10 millimeter. And I'm going to tighten this sucker one last time. No one's ever going to loosen that again. And now I have a fully functional stand that no matter what assistant I use is going to be all over it. So I obviously still need this one, but I don't need that stupid thing on the bottom. So I got rid of it. I'm feeling great. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all these stands. So here we go. Man, I've been wanting to do that forever. I mean, I'm talking like 5 years I've been wanting to do this. And so I'm I'm so glad I fixed all my stands. And think of the weight that I'm saving and all the extra parts I have now. So there you have it. But I really like these Avenger stands. They've been really, really good to me. I still have some light stands that I bought when I was in college. Now, you can look at my gray hair and try to figure out when that might have been, but I graduated from Marquette University in 1989, long time ago. No, I didn't. It was 88. Anyway, if you use Avenger stands, I hope this helps you. But I really like these stands. These are great. And one last thing. So again, the A625B, fantastic for using indoors with small stands without big modifiers. If you're going to do stuff based on speed lights, that's great. Or maybe small banks up to small to medium light banks with strobes or whatever. And then the A635B is a really good stout stand if you want to put some weight on it and you only have an 8-foot ceiling. That's going to be a really good stand. And then finally, the A675Bs, I just use these a lot. I end up working in lots of places that don't have 8-foot ceilings. I work in warehouses and in industrial applications, in assembly areas, stuff like that. And also in basketball arenas. Like you can take these, one of my little tricks is to take the A675Bs, close the legs, and then tighten this, and then zip tie the whole stand to the top of like a high school gym railing. If there's something that goes around the top of the court, and then you can run 13 feet up in the air with your light, and then come down, and you can light arenas, little small gyms this way. So these are just really, really good stands. But a lot of people ask me, what should I start out with? And I would say this. One of the drawbacks of a 13-foot stand is its minimum height. So if you've got somebody seated in a chair, say, and you're trying to do a cool portrait, this is too tall. The light is going to be like here and just too high. And so you can't light from underneath it all. So what I'd recommend if you're trying to figure out what stands to get an A625B and an A675B to start with, and then go from there. But that would be good. One last thing I want to say about Avenger stands. This is the Avenger tip on a stand. This is the tip that's going to be on like a Manfrotto or other stands. I do not recommend this tip. It's kind of a junker. And you might think it has added value because it's got this 3/8 thing on the top, but it really doesn't. It's pretty useless. Ultimately, in your photography or your video, you're eventually going to end up needing to use one of these. This is called a grip head. And a grip head is designed for this exact thing. So when you put a grip head on, it is going to line up, the tightener is going to line up with this center thing right there. And when you tighten it, it is on. And it's literally like a quarter turn and it's off. Okay, and so it's really, really good. Also, this is made of steel. This is made of brass. This is like weak. This is strong. This is like 40 years strong. So you really want to kind of help yourself out as you begin your career, because if you end up being a pro, you don't want to end up with these stands because you have to get rid of them to get these so that you can use grip heads in the future. So hopefully that'll help some of you, because it just doesn't pay not to be able to use a grip head. The last stand I'm going to talk to you about today in this video is a C-stand. Now C-stands come in 3 different varieties. They come standard, and then they come Rocky Mountain leg, and they come turtle. Let me explain this. So a standard C-stand just has the vertical shaft, which is 40 inches long. It connects to the feet, which don't remove. They stay on there. So when you collapse the stand down, all the feet go together like this. And so you have to carry the stand everywhere you go like that. That's how it's going to be. This is a turtle stand. And the idea is that you can undo this big knob here, and you can pull off the legs from the vertical part of the stand. Now these are great for traveling. They're also great because they're the heaviest. So the heaviest C-stand that anybody makes is a Turtle C, because in order to make the removable leg, they have to use much, much thicker steel, and like the circumference of the steel, it's much, much heavier. So if you're gonna hang something really heavy, if you're using like big, 2K HMIs or something like that, with a lot of weight, like a Fresnel, you really want the Turtle Cs. Likewise, if you're in still photography and you're using a 90-inch Octabank, say, and you got to have that thing, you know, 10 feet off the ground, this is the choice because it's just going to be beefier. For the same reason that you'd sandbag a C-stand, you'd also want to buy a Turtle C. So the Turtle C is the heaviest, also the most expensive, but it's really, you know, it's the right tool for the job. So whatever you got to do. So remember the Rocky Mountain leg C-stand, the bottom part does not move, but the top leg here does have a tightener, and this leg will move. Now this means that you'll be able to use a Rocky Mountain stand on a set of stairs. You could put 2 of the legs on the high part, and then you can raise this up to wherever you want. You can go 2 steps up or whatever, and you can level that stand perfectly so that you can have weight on it even though it's on a set of stairs. So the Rocky Mountain leg stand, if you're a location photographer and you don't work in the studio at all, the Rocky Mountain leg is awesome. It's a great way to go. And if you're only going to be doing studio stuff, the 40-inch C-stand that's standard is normal. That's a great way to go. And by the way, the most typical way to buy a C-stand is just like this. So this is a Turtle C with a 40-inch grip arm and a grip head. And you can buy that, you know, from wherever. So this is kind of the, you know, when you're going to do a big assignment, you're going to be there all day, you're probably going to see C-stands in use. If you're traveling by yourself and there's no assistant and you're going to be working out of a trunk of a car, you're probably going to be using stands like these. But you just use whatever is appropriate for the job. I've been doing Sony videos for a very long time, and I'm going to be trying to broaden my base a little bit. So if you have a question about anything about light stands, feel free to ask me. Also, for whatever it's worth, I use Amaran LEDs. I love them. I've completely switched to them. I've virtually sold off everything I used to use other than that. Wes got the FJ400s, the 200s, and the FJ80. That's my primary battery light. So if I'm doing a wedding, I'm taking the most convenient light known to man, which is the FJ400s. Packs tons of power, it recycles fast, the battery lasts forever. And then when I do really critical work where color temperature is really critical, doing tabletop, food photography, things like that, I'm going to use Elinchrom 500 HD Pros. That's what I use for my stuff. So that's it on light stands. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. One last thing, if you're interested in buying some of this gear or something like it, Bedford's Photo has a kind of a deal with me as an affiliate. And if you buy any grip equipment or really anything in the store, you pay full price that's published on the website, and then afterwards they'll kick you back 5%. So I can save you 5% on whatever you buy at Bedford's, which is pretty sweet. So, and remember, it's not just on light stands, it's anything that Bedford sells. So go to bedfords.com, and then just remember to, when you're in checkout, make sure you put in PMR in the checkout coupon code. And you won't see it at the time you buy it, but afterwards you'll see a credit card credit on your credit card. It's not an in-store credit. It literally goes back to your card, and off you go into the sunset. So if this video has been helpful to you, help me a little bit by buying from people that I do business with, which is bedfords.com. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and click the bell so you'll get notified every time I do one of these videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Pat Murphy-Racey.